Presidential candidate Amy Klobuchar setting herself apart from her 2020 Democratic rivals during a key stop in the state of Iowa last night, pointing out one key difference.
I am an underdog because I think I'm at number 6 or 7, but I am moving up, which is a good place to be, with my snow globe intact.
There you go. I want to get my panel back in. A.B. Stoddard, Phillipe Reines, and Jason Johnson. A.B., I go to you first because do you think a male candidate would ever look at themselves and say, I'm an underdog? Is she underselling herself? Like, I look at that and I want to be like, come on now, Amy Klobuchar. I saw you at the Kavanaugh hearings. You were the champion.
I think actually that's a tactic to deploy, and I think men use it as well. It's lowering expectations. And she's also trying to differentiate. I mean, she's trying to sort of say, I'm drowning here in the moderate lane because this is a wacky party of out-of-control socialists, so I'm the underdog in this really left-wing party. And it's good to lower expectations because then you can beat them. And then she also, like I said, I think it's a signal to donors and people who are desperate for Biden and other, maybe Governor Hickenlooper and other sort of centrist, more pragmatic candidates to get in, that she's their woman at this point. And I liked that she mentioned the snow globe, which she's thrilled about now. It is definitely an asset.
It's an iconic moment. That's an excellent, excellent point. Phillipe, when you look at this, what do you think about her position? Because one of the issues is the center isn't sexy. I watched her town hall the other night, and when she was speaking truth about how hard it is to actually pay for a lot of progressive ideas, she kind of got this. And what she was doing was being realistic.
Well, that's a fundamental choice they're all going to have to make over the next year is, do they want to bank on being realistic and telling hard truths to an audience? In her case, was a college university, where she was saying tuition shouldn't be free? Or do you realize that maybe the primary voters don't want to hear you be honest if it's that they're not going to get what they want? And I would hope that her approach is the one that wins, not her particularly, but that full honesty. But I don't know, because it really depends on what kind of purity. Uh-oh, he's laughing at us.
Again, I can feel like the fire.
I can feel this isn't going to be yelling, he's going to be laughing.
What America do you guys live in? The President of the United States ran on building a wall and creating a space force. Since when does somebody go practical and centrist when they're running for president? That's how you lose. You have to tell people your fantasy about what you want to create in this country. Even if you can't do it, people want to know what your dreams are. Running for president is aspirational. If I just want to find out what your party position is, I can go to your website. But I want to hear someone says, look, I dream bigger than what we have right now. I want more than we have right now. Yeah, we may not get it done in my term. It may take 2 or 3 terms, but that's my dream.
I don't know, Jason. Maybe people are kind of tired of false promises.
This guy, the guy in the White House right now is still winning, and he'll probably get reelected next year on false promises.
You're not going to out false promise him.
Well, I'm not saying lying, but I'm saying having a dream of what you want to create in America is what makes you a candidate.
I mean, look, in 2015, I winced when Hillary Clinton would not go along with 100% free tuition. It was a silly wedge to allow Senator Sanders to use. She wanted 99%. Just give the 100%. If 1% goes to Don Jr., okay, we'll deal with that later. Be aspirational. I was surprised this past week on both college education and a few other things that people are making issues out of things that they should just...
Why? Isn't that a way that they could start to pull Republican voters?
Look, the party is far more concerned about the direction of the party. I mean, not everyone in the party is concerned, but big donors and big party leaders are very concerned about the narrative that's developing that's anti-Israel, anti-prosecutor, anti-billionaire, anti-airplane, pro-infanticide, anti-Semitic, and that there's no one in the race pushing back on this except for maybe Klobuchar. That's why they want these other people to get in.
And that's every single one of them is...
Hold on.
It is now. They don't want to be a punchline in Donald Trump's rallies this early in what is expected to be a very lengthy process that could go into next May.
Donald Trump.
Hold on, Jason. To that point, if you turn on Fox News at 9 p.m. at night, they ain't talking about Amy Klobuchar because she's a real threat.
Exactly.
They're talking about the extreme left and saying how un-American it is and it's a threat to the country. And whether or not you agree with that, millions of people watch that at night.
And they want the never-Trump Republicans. That's what the Democrats want.
Some of those people are tired of the president. They're disillusioned with him. And those votes are available. They are not available to the extreme left.
Yeah, but most of these people aren't. Kamala Harris isn't the extreme left. left. Cory Booker isn't the extreme left. The only extreme left people that you have is probably Bernie Sanders. And this idea of saying that the Democratic Party is anti-business, most of these people take Wall Street money. They have no problem in getting billionaires more cash. These people are not anti-Israel. These people are not anti-Semitic. Personally, I think that's problematic when you conflate those two things.
They don't see pushback from the campaign trail.
But they are reflecting what their constituents want. And that is what's happening in this campaign. And at the end of the day, you have a sitting president who only won 47% of the vote. So the majority of America doesn't like this guy. They didn't like him 4 years ago. They don't like his policies now. So if there's ever a window for a Democrat to come in and come up with something crazy, now's the time.
They're afraid the voters are going to sit the election out. They know Biden can pick up never Trump Republicans in the Midwest. They know that maybe Klobuchar can. They're concerned about this idea Republicans are selling that the Democrats are radical because it will make voters sit out. Voters stayed home on Hillary Clinton. I know a lot of them, and that's why she lost.
Phillipe, last point.
I think a lot of never Trumpers will vote for anything that walks on its hind legs. So I'm not really sure. And in terms,
you really think a never Trumper is going to go all the way to the left? Just stay with me.
They're going to never vote Trump by definition of who they are.
And they won't stay home.
Then they'll stay home.
I don't think so, because
Which hurts Republicans more
they
than it hurts
understand.
Democrats.
And look, as someone who's been on Fox at 9 o'clock more than any human being should, I know, and Klobuchar deserves credit for trying to appeal to that crowd directly. She has gone on the network. There are people who they need to hear that there is an alternative. Are they going to buy it? Probably not. But they need to hear that there are people out there who say, I think America can be this. It's not what we have now, because Donald Trump is the punchline. He's not going to make them into punchlines. And you can't prevent him from calling them anti-Semitic, socialist, communists. They have to go out there and they have to say, he is bonkers. He is a liar. He is a cheat. We're going to beat him. And when we beat him, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to make sure that everyone has health care. I'm going to make sure people can go to college. I'm going to make sure that people all...
But why can't you say those things about the president and then offer something more moderate in hopes of getting all of the Democratic Party, because none of them are going to vote for Trump,
a few weeks.
and the never Trumpers.
I'm just saying that if this panic wasn't real, you wouldn't have seen Senator Dick Durbin go out on Morning Joe this week and make fun of the Green New Deal. Like, what is that anyway? They are in a panic.
They have been wrong plenty of times. They were wrong with Hillary Clinton. By the way, I'm sure Cory Booker and Senator Harris are thrilled that they suddenly become liberals, because they're not. And most of the liberal base doesn't even like them. This notion that the Democrats always have to run afraid of how the Republicans frame them is why they keep losing. That kind of caution, that kind of cowardice is why Democrats keep losing. As long as what you're selling seems to be appealing to people, then sell it. And if it doesn't work, then they'll find out. But this idea that they need to be afraid, oh, Trump's going to make fun of us. Trump will make fun of anybody. Yeah. He will make fun of anybody no matter what position that you take.
We took the
not
House
Putin.
back.
Stop.
Well, exactly.
Come on, this is the House, not Putin.
We took the House back, which we're seeing every day how important that is, because we got our people excited. We made sure that they knew that if they didn't vote, they couldn't complain when they had 2 more years, 4 more years, 6 more years. And we didn't run around saying, oh, Mr. Never Trumper, Mrs. Never Trumper,
exactly.
How do you feel like voting for, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez?
Except that the moderates won the primary.
Well, but you know what? But you know what? They won on those platforms. I mean, to the extent that we peeled off. Well, to the extent that we peeled off. To the extent that we peeled off suburban women with college educations who. Why the hell did they vote for Trump in the first place?
That's not how Mikey Sherrill in New Jersey won.
That's how a lot of people won. That's how a lot of people won.
But they are the majority makers.
Gun control, these are the kinds of left-wing. In Georgia, Lucy McBath won on gun control in suburban Georgia, a district that had been lost to the Democrats after $15 million last year.
Gun control is not extreme.
Well, but a lot of people think it is in Georgia. The idea that you're going to take my guns, and she still ran, and she still won in a district that had been won by Republicans the last year. The Democrats, and I say this all the time, I'm not a Democrat, but they're actually not wrong for once. For once, they're not wrong in actually running on their policies. They have run scared for cycle after cycle after cycle, and that's why nobody trusts them. American voters would rather follow somebody who has some beliefs they don't believe in, but believes in them firmly, than go after somebody who's always trying to pander to them and they know won't get anything done when they get in office.
And I know we're out of time, but let's remember, Hillary Clinton got 3 million more votes. So without getting into that whole thing, it's not like the whole world stayed home or she didn't appeal to people.
They stayed home in 3 states, and it was only 77,000 votes that gave the president.
I know, I completely understand why I'm sitting here unemployed and not in the White House. But that's not the point. The point is that the model worked.
Yes.
The model worked. And to the extent that people want to say, well, she should have gone to Wisconsin, should have Michigan, you're actually confirming the point that the model worked. We need to get Democrats out. If Republicans want to join us, fine. If they don't, they don't. There's 35% that are apparently comprising 80, 85, 90% of the Republican Party that are gone. I don't know who they are. I don't know what they're thinking. I don't know what their problem is, but they're gone. There is some portion of reasonable people left, whether it is Tom Nichols or Bill Kristol or whoever.
They're not going to vote for a liberal candidate, though.
Bill Kristol would vote for me if I were
Okay.
Even though he disagrees with me on Die Hard, Christmas movie.
We just found out Phillipe Reines 2020. That wraps us this hour. Thank you all so much.